So we'll end the urinary system by talking about micturition. Okay, so we've just got two objectives here. So we're going to describe the reflex, and we're going to describe and identify what's voluntary and what's involuntary control. So the first question is, what is micturition? Well, it's a fancy word for urination. All right, and so just because we're talking about it, did you know? Probably not, but most mammals take approximately 20 seconds to urinate regardless of volume. All right, so think about that the next time you go to the bathroom. Doesn't matter if you're a horse, doesn't matter if you're a dog, doesn't matter if you're a human. It takes about 20 seconds to urinate. And so I always ask, who was the lucky graduate student that got to measure how long it takes different animals to urinate? Sounds like a terrible, terrible job. Anyway, so how does it work? Well, urine fills up, stretches out the walls. Okay, so these stretch receptors, which are mechanoreceptors, send a signal via afferent neurons to the spinal cord going, we're getting full. This causes a parasympathetic response that causes something called the detrusor muscle to contract, and it also causes your internal sphincter to relax. All right, there are interneurons. Remember, interneurons connect other neurons to each other, but interneurons tell your spinal cord, hey, bladder's full, we need to pee. Okay, and so if that's what you decide to do, the cerebral cortex signals the external sphincter, and remember it's a urethral sphincter, to relax. Okay, so this last part, that is, right here, this is the voluntary control. Everything else is involuntary. So notice that there are two sphincters. We've got the internal and we've got the external. So here's a picture. So the internal sphincter, it's under autonomic control, it's smooth muscle, whereas the external sphincter is skeletal muscle, so it's under somatic or voluntary control. So during the micturition reflex, it's involuntary, mediated by the parasympathetic nervous system. Urine fills the bladder and stretches the walls. We have stretch receptors, which send afferent signals to the spinal cord. The parasympathetics has, remember, that's an efferent pathway, tells the detrusor muscle to contract and the internal sphincter to relax. Okay, so we've got that and we've got that. And then interneurons in the spinal cord let your brain know, hey, bladder's full. And so if it's appropriate to pee, you pee. And you do that by relaxing your external urethral sphincter. So same thing, just we've got a flow chart here. So again, you fill up your bladder with urine. That causes the wall to expand, which activates stretch receptors. We decrease sympathetic activity. We increase parasympathetic activity. That causes relaxation of the internal sphincter and contraction of the detrusor muscle. So that opens the internal sphincter. And at the same time, what happens is we actually turn down or reduce somatic activity to the external sphincter, which allows that to relax. And then you pee. And so there you go. Now you know how that works. Have a good one.